Mr. Chairman, the Biden administration created one of the most damaging national security threats our country has ever faced. They allowed over 12 million illegals from over 170 countries and territories to break our laws, invade our country, rape our women and children, and murder our own people. Now Democrats are fighting against the Trump administration, fighting against deportations of people who broke our laws, who are members of the cartel, and they're protesting every single day for these cartel members to be brought back in America, which is a national security risk. 2 million of these illegals that the Biden administration and Democrats welcomed into the country are known gotaways who completely evaded U.S. authorities and are roaming the interior of the United States. Included in these 12 million are special interest aliens, also known as SIAs. Special interest aliens are individuals who pose a potential national security risk to the United States, typically from a nation that promotes terrorist activity or harbors terrorists. Under the Biden-Harris administration, there were at least 1.7 million special interest aliens from 26 countries encountered at our border. This does not include the potential SIAs among the 2 million known gotaways. I say at least because the true scope of how many SIAs remains largely unknown, since DHS is not required to disclose this critical information publicly. The American people deserve to know how many potential terrorists are coming across the border and which countries they are from, which is exactly what my bill does. And I can't imagine how anybody across the aisle can even argue with this. According to the former Chief Border Patrol agent of the San Diego sector, prior to the Biden-Harris administration, the sector averaged only 10 to 15 SIAs arrests per year. He testified, once word was out that the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more that this year. And that's the ones that they knew of. The number of special interest aliens skyrocketed over the last 4 years, and even more egregiously, the Biden administration tried to cover it up. The administration of Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Secretary Mayorkas, impeached by the House, by the way, told the chief's Border Patrol agent of the San Diego sector that he was prohibited from releasing any of this information on the increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests at the time. That's unbelievable. The administration tried to convince the public that there was no threat at the border. They were complicit in covering up the invasion at our border. The American people deserve to know the number of potential terrorists Kamala Harris and Joe Biden allowed to come in the United States. They also deserve to know the numbers under the Trump administration to see a president who cares about the American people secure the border. That is why I'm urging the support for my legislation, which would require DHS to publicly release information each month on the number of SIA encounters, as well as countries of origin. Thankfully, President Trump has secured our border and restored our nation's sovereignty. Given the number of border crossings is down 94%, border crossings are down 94%, down to the lowest monthly levels ever recorded. I have no doubt that under his leadership, SIA encounters will cease if they haven't already. I encourage my colleagues to support this bill. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Recognized.
Thank you. I think my colleague across the aisle is very confused and maybe uneducated and uninformed of what a special interest alien is. SIA is a non-U.S. person who is based on an analysis of travel patterns, potentially poses a national security risk to the United States or its interest. Special interest aliens are people from countries identified by the United States government as having conditions that promote or protect terrorism or potentially pose some sort of national security threat to the United States. It's hard for me to fathom that anyone on this committee would be opposed to simply reporting the number of special interest aliens that Homeland, that our great men and women that served as Border Patrol agents, that any of our police, any of our ICE agents happen to detain, and it's just the number. We're just telling the American people how many. That's it.
Would the gentlelady yield for a question?
No, I will not yield. The Department of Homeland Security officials have publicly posted information about special interest aliens in the past, including the current Border Patrol chief and his predecessor. Custom and Border Protection already published similar numbers on its public site. For example, the terrorist screening data set. And just to go further, and this is always an interesting dynamic to me. On our side of the aisle, we trust the American people, and we believe they deserve transparency. They deserved the truth from the federal government, because it is, after all, that we swore an oath to serve the American people. And the American people are the taxpayers that pay all of our paychecks. They pay for this building. They fund this government, even though the government has plunged them into $36 trillion in debt and opened up the borders for the past 4 years and allowed it to be flooded with illegal aliens. And then the Biden administration gave them Social Security numbers. You see, this that we are trying to pass today, and we would love to have your participation. We would enjoy and really would thank you for caring about transparency and providing information to the American people that so deserve it, instead of arguing back and forth and watching you all defend special interest aliens, defend terrorists who have come in our country, and defend dangerous, violent cartels who have been deported out of our country. I know too many people that have been murdered by cartels. I know too many people, and I know their families, and have watched them mourn because they have a family member that was killed by illegal alien crimes or murdered by an illegal alien or a cartel member. This should be a simple conversation. We are all Americans, and we serve this country, not foreign countries. And that should be a simple fact that we can all recognize, not have political disagreements about. Congress, by the way, has previously released information as it relates to special interest aliens through hearings and committee reports, including the October 3rd, 2024 report from the House Judiciary Committee titled "The Biden-Harris Border Crisis: At Least 1.7 Million Potential National Security Threats." DHS has an obligation to the American people to be as transparent as possible. We owe it to the American people to be as transparent as possible. This is not targeting some innocent migrant or someone that is seeking to be a citizen of the United States. We're talking about special interest aliens, potentially terrorists, people who are linked to terrorist organizations, people who share their travel patterns, people that all of us should not want in the United States, and the American people don't want them here either. This isn't giving their name. This isn't telling what country they're from. This isn't giving their address. This isn't saying where they work. This isn't saying anything. It's not showing their picture. It's simply saying how many came across the border each month. It's very simple, Mr. Chairman. I think it's extremely important that it does include this information, and that's why it's written that way. And I have to say that I'm honored to serve on a committee with multiple members here on this committee that have served our country and tracked down and hunted terrorists. That's something that I can't understand in my life experience, but I respect and I am immensely grateful for. And so are the American people. And to hear my colleagues who have done this as a job while they left their families in service to our country to defend the United States of America and protect us from terrorism, and terrorists abroad, when they are completely comfortable with this information being released for transparency for the American people, I think that should give everyone full confidence that this is the right thing to do. This does not threaten our national security interest. It is, as a matter of fact, it keeps us safer. And I'm thankful for the comments and the expertise that has been said today on our committee. And Mr. Higgins, I yield back.